Hello reviewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, basically Expo explained, MachPhy physics, so to say, Mach physics, a cold chain tool. We're gonna explain. I'm gonna hope that you have already watched the Expo on ground recording. This is an explanation of what the hell it is and why it is. So basically this Mac Physics company is they are creating a cold chain technology, and I mean complete from start to finish, and their core competency is PCM or phase change material. So energy storage via phase change, and when we are talking about energy storage, we are not talking about electrical energy, we are talking about thermal energy, either hot energy or cold energy, both can be stored in this way. So the idea is you basically freeze something, meaning you pull heat from it, becomes a void, that becomes a solid, and then you put it in somewhere where you need cooling, and over time it becomes from solid to liquid, and then you freeze it again, and then it completes the cycle. So the idea is they have the toolkit for the whole ecosystem of cold chain. Meaning, if you're talking about fishery, basically once they have collected the fish and it's out of the water, from their point of view to actually storing it in a refrigerated container, they're gonna make sure the whole cold chain is stable. And they have cold boxes, which again is a very critical deal for medical industry, simply because a lot of blood sample has to be collected and transported, and a lot of vaccines are very finicky. So in those sort of scenario, basically cold box and refrigeration system, they have all the toolkits. So it's a decent enough toolkit where they can take care of it, and multiple ranges of temperature also. For example, they are not focusing on, let's say, 2 degrees to 8 degrees Celsius, which is like okay, cooled kind, food grade cooled kind of thing. Because here's the deal, while that is okay for blood and food, some scenarios it's not enough. Specifically if you're talking about vaccines, certain vaccines are very spicy. They require for some reason very low temperature. I mean -10 kind of temperature. I once got a flu shot that had to be kept cold like that. So there are certain scenarios where you have to maintain very low temperature, and they can do that. And not to mention, they also have added IoT tracking, because if you are specifically dealing with vaccine, you have to have traceability. Did the vaccine not work because it was compromised, or the vaccine was faulty? So that's why, like, they even have that IoT. Again, not necessary for everything, but for some scenarios they shut up take money. So why do we need technology like this? Well, I do not know whether you know this, but India is hot. So in degrees Celsius, it's not that bad. It's 50 degrees Celsius. But in Fahrenheit, that's 122 degree Fahrenheit. Oh, and be mindful, we do cross 50 degrees Celsius. It's not the upper limit. It's like, yeah, that's average. So it does go high up. So it's hot. And we do need to keep perishable things cold. Now, perishable things may sound luxurious, and it was luxury in the early days, but now it's what we classify as necessity, meaning our medical chain will not work if we cannot guarantee this. Like, flat out it will not work. Blood samples and all that, yeah, flat out it will not work. So it is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. And food, medicine, blood samples, all of that. Fridge also has this one unique problem with India, is that our power supplies, as in like the grid, it's not absolute, meaning you just put it on once in a while power cut happens. No, it's a regular, part of life kind of deal. So you have to have a refrigerator that can coast without compromising the temperature. So yeah, we need a refrigerator, something like that. And there is another trick that you can do with a refrigerator that makes it cheaper. And transporting box which remains cold enough, because again, while having ice on fishes and things of this nature, temperature actually does not go very low, simply because ice will melt and maintain 0 degrees Celsius. But not only you have water contamination, you are only at 0 degrees Celsius. So if you need something that is lower, you do need what people call gel packs. Those are a different kind of PCMs. So it's a necessity for India. And again, we don't think about it because there are more than enough companies that are dealing with it. It's like foundational technology. We assume you know how to do this. So how they are working? Well, the idea is very simple: phase change property of water. Nothing fancy, nothing special. But the special sauce is the organic salt that they are putting in water. There are more than enough company that sells you this sort of box which you can freeze and keep your things cool. Penalty of that is many of them use salts that makes it toxic, meaning if the basically the pouch, so to say, or the box gets punctured and the liquid leaks, you have to throw away the food. This will not be the issue with this one. Meaning, if let's just say you had a vehicle accident and the pouch got ruptured, yeah, you can just wash the organics, as in like the material, whatever you were especially with food, you wash it and eat it, not an issue. It's human safe. So that's the special sauce. So water plus organic salt equals special sauce. I did ask them what salt, they said no. They did not give me the sauce, so that is there. And you will freeze it to store energy void, meaning you are leaching its energy so it can absorb energy in your cold chain. So you basically make it an energy void, and then in cold box, basically whatever, either you're carrying vaccines, carrying food, you put this puppy and this eats energy void, meaning you're generally gonna have an insulated box, but no matter how good your insulation is, slowly heat will leak into it. So this will eat that heat, meaning it's like, hey, it's not like, okay, you put something that is at let's say minus 10 degrees Celsius and slowly it will go to 2 degrees Celsius. No, it will remain at minus 10. That's the whole point of this sort of box, and that's why it's not just water ice. You do need to depress the temperature so it can maintain it, not just like, oh, I have low temperature and just slowly rises up. Nope. When they say it's like a -5, it will remain -5, and depending on design and depending on system, they can make sure that for 22 hours without any tampering, it should keep things cool. So not only just like, something that keeps things cool, but maintains it. And human safe fluid, so it's not a hazard. So leaking, all that things is not a hazard. And for solar basically refrigeration unit for remote areas, it has this one unique ability. You do not need ginormous batteries. Instead of having expensive electrical battery, you just have a big ass solar farm, which is cheap, big ass refrigerator, surprisingly cheap, and then you just have a huge PCM material. So when sun comes up, the PCM absorbs heat like bonkers amount of energy. Compressor just pulls it away from it, and once the sun goes down, this PCM takes care of it. So instead of having hyper expensive batteries, you just have PCMs that is directly storing the cold energy. That's a unique way of jumping that day to night cycle. And again, you can have electrical connection, but if it's not stable, it still will be stable enough, so to say. And they do have high temperature PCM also. Right now we are talking about basically liquid water to ice or ice to liquid water, but there are other variants also, and yes, they are working on it. That, if I'm not mistaken, is some sort of hydrocarbon or paraffin wax kind of deal, which dumps heat. So basically you can maintain temperature at higher elevation, so to say. So like 80 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Celsius, generally used for food delivery. So you can have a box, and food delivery, you can make sure that pizzas remain hot. So that is there for hot box also, although I do not know any other use case of it, but they do have it. So their product range is surprisingly vast. They're like, bro, we got this. It's surprisingly vast. They have a lot of toolkits, and the whole idea is the whole supply chain, you can go to them and they're gonna equip you from start to finish to take care of these things. So again, keeping things cool in transit, they got the travel boxes. Refrigerator with power outage resistance, they got all the refrigerator with PCMs. Tailor-made, for example, like this is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, then you have -20 to -18 degrees Celsius, and they have like one very low temperature one. So these things have enough PCM built into them that they can jump through a very large power outage without too much issue. So in case of food, blood, or vaccines, you can trust these things that they will not compromise it. And hot things are also there, although I do not know. Again, if any of you know any other use case than the just what you call food, keeping food hot, I would like to know. And but ironically, they do have partnership for that, like as in like a company is actually using it in food delivery, so they do have some use case of that. Oh, and they are also GEM certified, as in Indian government has a portal, so to say, where if you want to buy something for government, you can buy from there, and government will not create a fuss about it, because everything that goes there is already pre-sorted for government. GST and all that jazz is already sorted. So yes, they are GEM certified, meaning if you are working with government, you can acquire them without too much hassle. So what can we expect in the future? Well, reality is this sort of tool is one of the things that we ignore. We do not think too much about like how hard it is for fishermen to take the fish and bring it to your market or to actual cold chain, basically like where you have electricity. That jump, most people ignore it, but it has a serious consequences. Although I'm a vegetarian, so I do not know why, but a lot of people have said that fish, if it's dead, you do not want it to be wet. I do not want cool and dry, awesome. Cool and wet, no, it changes texture. I do not know what that means, but I will take them at their word. So the idea is having PCM allows you to basically that melting is happening inside the box. It's not leaking, it's not contaminating, so you do not have to worry about it. And if in the worst case scenario, contamination did happen, like let's say something got punctured, you are dealing with a fluid that is human safe. So that's okay. And PCM has a lot of national, scope, so to say. So it's kind of thing that you assume your nation has it mastered, because again, vaccines, pandemic taught us a very important lessons. You have to know how to do this. It's no longer just like, no. Like you can live without silicon technology. You can't live without this sort of technology where you can maintain a cold chain. We learned this the hard way. So yeah, this is something that we have to have mastery. Like again, you do not have to do this, but you have to make sure that your country has enough talent that's like, this is not a weak link where it's like, oh, all of those things are coming from Vietnam or Mexico or China. You do want to make sure that your nation has the inbuilt talent, because again, that special salt is special. And ice-free cooling, that's a very good point. Like again, ice melts and it contaminates everything. So having ice-free is cheap also, because putting something in a refrigerator to overnight, it's not that expensive. Buying ice is expensive. So it's cheaper and less messy. Thou shall enjoy less mess in life. So that is there. And PCM block for freezer also allows the compressor to work more effectively. For example, the worst thing for compressor is that it starts up and then it shuts down very quickly. It would be better for it to start up and then run for quite some strong duration and then turn off, because you really do not, like the most wear and tear on a reciprocator compressor happens is when turning it on, because at that time oil has been drained out. So you have to spin it up, then it starts to lubricate itself and then it runs. So if you do like start, stop, it's not really good for that. This PCM allows you to use the old school on-off what we call compressor, rather than modern ones where you have like throttle and all that. You can work with that and just fine. PCM is like, I got you, fam. You go, heart out. I'm gonna take care of it. And not to mention, this also allows your item temperature to remain far more stable. So it is a really clever use of. And again, jumping from a day to night without requiring battery that's clever. So compressor power and all that, it's clever. And hot PCM is very valuable for food delivery, given the fact that India consumes food like there is no tomorrow. And I've seen one or few companies that are trying to do something similar with solar panel. The idea is you're going to put the solar panel on the roof, and most people may not want to have the extra hassle of the PVT panel, as in you have thermal panel behind it, because again, you may have need for hot water or you may not. So that creates a scenario where it's like, I do not want to deal with that. Just give me a solar panel that gives me electricity and remains cool. So what can you do? PCM allows a very unique solution there. So the idea is PCM will melt during daytime. Basically, it will be frozen at the sunrise. It will over time completely melt through during sunset. After the sunset, it will start to radiate all its heat away and slowly freeze overnight. Benefit of that is you can keep your panel cool by like 5 degrees to 15 degrees Celsius. And that's a big deal. You want to know how big deal it is? Look into Wari solar panel, and they have a chart, basically a 5-degree gap. What happens if your solar panel is 5 degree cooler? Yeah, that's a lot of difference. Now again, it will not make more power, but it will make sure that your panel lasts longer. Degradation goes down drastically. So it is something that a lot of people are seriously looking into it. So again, this sort of technology, we don't think about it. But again, we don't think about it because we are assuming that somebody has already sorted it. So having a company that is taking care of that hidden toxicity, that's a really good. Having a company that is utilizing this to amp up basic compressor refrigerators and all that, that's good. Making sure you do not need ginormous battery to make a refrigerator work 24/7 on solar, good. So it's a very clever and wise implementation of stuff. So this was my presentation on physics. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please give the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.